All right, so if you haven't seen the segment yet, go watch the segment of my takedown on the mainstream media warmongers, because we hopped in a time machine and went right back to 2002, and virtually everybody in mainstream media is beating the war drums. They're frothing at the mouth. They snapped into line, and they're basically providing cover for Trump and Netanyahu's illegal and offensive war on Iran, a country that didn't attack us and wasn't building a nuke. Well, now I spared some smoke for the so-called independent media losers who helped force-feed all of you propaganda, pretending like, bro, Trump's the pro-peace candidate, bro. Trump's anti-war, bro. Kamala would be way worse. Because I have nothing but a seething and passionate hatred for all of these assholes. So let me walk you through it. Let's start with this guy here. By the way, shout out to Michael Tracy. He put a lot of these things together because he's equally as pissed about this as I am. But here we have a guy, Colonel Douglas McGregor. He's one of these guys, as Michael Tracy says. He gets dragged onto all these dopey podcasts to make shitty arguments. He was one of the people leading the charge that, bro, Trump's the pro-peace candidate, bro. That's why you gotta support him, bro. So here we go. Let's start.
I only have a short message for you. As you and I are meeting here today, thousands and thousands of soldiers from the regular army and the National Guard are deploying to the Middle East. They're preparing to fight a war against Iran, a country which has never attacked us, with whom we have no grief, no grievance. At the same time, we have 100,000+ American soldiers lining the border of Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, all the way down to Romania, preparing to potentially fight Russia. This insanity is costing us not just trillions of dollars, it's destroying our country. How many trillions have we lost on this proposition? How many hospitals could we have built? How many schools could we have improved? How many roads and bridges could we have repaired? And how many Americans would be alive and well and safe today if we hadn't? So what I want you to remember is a very simple formula. War breeds tyranny, corruption, and destruction. Peace is the foundation for prosperity and goodwill around the world. That's what we need. No more wars. Now, before you leave here, remember, you got to go out and vote. And you need to vote for peace, not war. For prosperity, not poverty. Remember, the people that have put us into debt, they're not the ones who bear the burden. We are. The people that have put us into debt are fat and rich and corrupt. We got to get rid of them. You've got to do that. Thank you.
So this was the Rescue the Republic. I believe this was like the RFK weird, like, left-right crossover where they were all sucking off Trump and supporting Trump. And here he is, like, no more wars. That's my big thing. That's why we got to support Trump, bro. I got so many more examples for you. Let's go to Laura Logan. Another one of these people who helped spread the propaganda about Trump being the pro-peace candidate. And you could see she's talking at the Rescue the Republic thing. See how it says Maha in front of her here? This is exactly what this event was.
And we have a window. You can all see it. This is a window. If you don't like war and you don't want to go to war, well, then you sure as hell better get off your butt and do something in the next few weeks. Because one of the pillars of Rescue the Republic is that war should be a last resort. And that is something that we really mean. Don't be sending your sons and daughters and fathers and mothers, and don't be sending them onto battlefields to loiter on the objective and die in filthy sewage canals and other places when you have the ability to bring everybody home overnight without putting a single boot on the ground. And you never use that capability. Why not? We don't ask the right questions because our journalists have let us down.
All right, so now we go to Tulsi and RFK, the darlings of the independent media world. Listen to what they said at the MSG rally for Donald Trump.
A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them. And who has demonstrated already that he has the courage and strength to stand up and fight for peace. History will look back on us at this moment for the choice that we make. Did we choose war or peace? Did we choose poverty or prosperity?
Remember, Tulsi, not that long ago, just testified in front of a committee saying Iran is not building a nuclear weapon. They're not building a nuclear weapon. Then Trump, when he decided, I'm going to be a warmonger and launch an offensive war against Iran, Trump said, they're building a nuclear weapon. They're building a nuclear weapon. Then when he was told, hey, your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, just said they weren't, he goes, she's wrong. She's wrong. Then Tulsi puts her tail between her legs and releases a statement saying, President Trump is right, and actually the media is lying about what I said in that hearing. Fucking totally shameless. Her whole brand was, I'm the anti-regime change war person, and now Trump is literally out there going, yay, regime change, let's overthrow Iran, yay, hooray. I knew Tulsi was a fraud when, again, she branded herself as, I'm the anti-war person, and then when Joe Biden pulled out of Afghanistan and the media rained holy hell on him, some of us were out there in the trenches defending what Joe Biden did because he was right. And then others who branded themselves as anti-war went and fucking hid in the corner, and that's exactly what Tulsi did. She didn't defend Joe Biden at all in that moment when he needed it, when the media was raining holy hell on him and the Republicans were shitting on what he was doing, and even most of the Democrats were nowhere to be found. Tulsi ran and hid. I knew then for sure, oh, total fucking hack, shameless, zero principles. And then here she is, this is what she said as to why she supports Trump, and he's against these wars, bro. He's against these wars, bro. Any thoughts now? You fucking hack?
Did we choose censorship or freedom?
Oh my God. The guy who's like suing pollsters for numbers he didn't like. Yeah, he's arresting pro-Palestine protesters, but Trump's all about free speech, bro.
President Trump called me 3 hours after his shooting. And he said, would I come and sit down with them? And he said to me during that meeting, he said, there are some things that we can agree on and some we disagree on, but the landscapes on which we agree are so much larger. He said, I want to end the wars.
Any thoughts now, bitch?
I want to end this surveillance and censorship. I want to protect the Constitution. I want to protect freedom of speech.
Unbelievable. Wants to protect the Constitution as he literally rips up the Constitution on a daily basis and got rid of due process, the most basic shit, habeas corpus, which goes back to the Magna Carta. I can't with these people.
Oh, you think that we deserve a president who's going to end the warfare state and rebuild the middle class? Oh, you want a president who's going to put America first?
If these people weren't totally shameless hacks and frauds, RFK and Tulsi would have left the administration and made a big stink about how Trump violated his campaign promise. He launched another regime change war. He's a liar. I'm leaving MAGA and you should too. That's what they would do if they had a principled fucking bone in their body. But I'm just getting warmed up. Here's the king of fake independent media himself, Joe Rogan. Here's what he was saying before the election. Ready?
The world we're living in now, and that's LA, and that's New York, and that's a lot of places that got fucked up by incompetent people.
I don't
No,
know.
LA and New York. Gee, I wonder what he's talking about. Democrats. He's talking about Democrats fucking everything up.
A lot of places that got fucked up by incompetent people.
I don't know. I just feel safer knowing, like...
Pull this microphone with your face.
I feel safer knowing that Trump is in office.
I do too.
I feel safer knowing that Trump is in office. I do too. As he rounds up innocent people and sends them to a concentration camp in El Salvador with no due process, as he invades the United States of America, sent Marines to LA over 2 days of protest, and now launches a regime change war against Iran. Any update, Joe? Any fucking updates? How you feeling today? You feeling safe?
I do too.
I feel great about it.
What I don't feel safer is right now they're launching missiles into Russia.
Yeah.
How are you allowed to do that when you're on the way out? Like, the people don't want you to be there anymore. There should be like some sort of a pause for like significant actions that could potentially start World War III.
Oh my God. Bro, I'm so scared because Ukraine and the Democrats are starting World War III. Oh, what's that? What's that? Trump just launched an illegal and offensive war against Iran, a country that didn't attack us, and they weren't even building a nuke, and Trump just wants regime change? What? He helped spread the pernicious lie that Trump was pro-peace. Trump is anti-war. Trump is anti-establishment. After he already learned all the horrible things about Trump, I said them to his face. And then he brings Trump on his podcast, hot stone massage, gives him a little handy, and then not only endorses him, but goes to the fucking inauguration. And now, anytime there's any criticism of Trump, it is the most tepid fucking shit. It's un poquito. It's just, I think I mildly disagree with you, getting rid of due process, bro. Oh, what a roaring lion you are. And then he goes right back to, bro, the woke left, bro? The woke left, they're just censoring and stuff, bro. Such hacks. Such hacks. This is why for so long I was saying, no, you don't get it. For all of mainstream media's flaws, they are way better than fake independent media. All these people who suck themselves off like they're special. Meanwhile, they ride Trump's nuts. And they also take a shitload of corporate money and do brand deals and shit. Because at least the mainstream media people don't pretend like they're special. They're just doing their fucking mainstream media job. These guys, bro, we're different. We're totally different. We're like new truth tellers, bro. And then what do? Suck Trump off. That's what they did. But by the way, I was wrong. Mainstream media and fake independent media are equally bad. Because right now, mainstream media is cheerleading for war with Iran and misleading people. And independent media is just filled with a bunch of assholes with fucking egg on their face who can't even acknowledge that they were dead fucking wrong. If any of these people had principles, not only would they say, I'm done with MAGA, I'm out of MAGA, I'm done with Trump, they would crusade against him, and they would be talking nonstop about how they were duped, about how horrible Trump is, about how you should leave the cult too. But you're not going to get that, are you? You're not going to get that. More. Look at this asshole. Fucking Russell Brand. Ready? He was another one who was, bro, who, me? Who, me, bro? I'm like a lefty. I would even say I'm like a far lefty, bro. Whatever, no big deal. But anyway, it's my leftiness that makes me go, oh, Trump, he's kind of interesting. He's kind of cool. Maybe he'll like stop the wars and stuff, bro. Watch this.
My support for Trump was generally based upon we gotta break up this globalist imperialist threat that's in the form of these Democrats that are clearly aligned with figures like Macron, the loathsome and ludicrous Macron, the outrageous Keir Starmer, God love him, and sets of permanent bureaucracies that are edging the world towards war continually and want us to live in a kind of airport of perpetual control.
Can I get an update on that, bitch? Can I get an update on that? Donald Trump giving Palantir a contract to do mass blackmail on every single American. Can I get an update? Can I get an update on the war thing?
Trump, I always saw as an incredible bulwark. His individualism, his complete, his unwillingness to be managed and controlled. That's kind of how I saw it then. How do you go?
Unwillingness to be managed and controlled as he took $100 million from Miriam Adelson as a quid pro quo to let Israel do whatever the fuck they want. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Guys, you have to understand something. So many of these people, I have a term for it, they are vibe mongers. What does that mean? They looked online and they saw, oh, Trump's having a moment. He's got a lot of fans online. What if I try to ride that wave, bro? What if I try to tap into those vibes and say the things that they want to hear? Well, then you're not telling the truth. You're not saying what you actually think. You're just trying to get eyeballs on you, and you're just trying to make fucking ad revenue, and you're a vibe monger. That's what you are. So many of these people are vibe mongers. They're also audience captured. God forbid they say something that their audience doesn't like. They'll fucking never fucking say it again and steer the ship immediately in the opposite direction because they actually are controlled in that sense. They are terminal contrarians. Anything mainstream, by definition, has to be wrong, and I'm going to be the outsider, bro. That's what I am. And they're narrative humpers. And the narrative in this instance is, bro, Trump's better. Trump's anti-war. Trump's anti-establishment. They rode that wave the whole fucking time. They humped that narrative all day long, even when people like me were explaining in clear terms every step of the way. Here's why, based on Trump's record and his policies, you're wrong. You're wrong. He's none of the things that you say he is. But I'm still not done. Michael Tracy got this banger for us here from Jimmy Dore. May 16th. Trump dismantles U.S. neocon foreign policy with peace and tolerance, bro. Peace and tolerance, bro. By the way, let me just point out, these are the sorts of people who, when Joe Biden pulled out of Afghanistan, they did not come to his defense. They didn't do it. Oh, bro, I'm the anti-war guy. I'm the anti-war guy. When a president actually fucking ended a war, I didn't say dick. My lips were sealed. I didn't say anything. They didn't give Biden credit when he nearly eliminated the drone war at the time. Nothing. The double standard is crazy to me, bro. All the warmongering things Trump did in his first term, they fucking out of sight, out of mind, water off a duck's ass. But if Trump goes out there and says, I don't like the endless wars, they do fucking 17 hours straight of podcast going, see, bro, he's against the endless wars, bro. Trump dismantles U.S. neocon foreign policy with peace and tolerance. Ain't looking so peaceful now, are we? Ain't looking so fucking tolerant now, are we? And don't say nobody could have seen this coming, because I told you guys it was coming from the very beginning. All right, more. How about this banger? Age like milk, Post Left Watch says. Trump is now way to the left of warmongering Kamala. He's campaigning as anti-war, anti-censorship, anti-mandate, and anti-deep state. Now with RFK, Trump is against big agriculture and the corruption of the FDA, plus his idea to not tax tipped wages, which they took out of the bill. And it's very, very, very easy to be left of neocon warmongering Kamala. Propaganda saying Trump was to the left of Kamala Harris. And now Trump just brought us into a new regime change war with Iran. You should never trust any of these fucking people ever again. More.
So what were they really afraid of with Trump? They were afraid he wouldn't do this. That's what they were afraid of. They were afraid he wouldn't go along with them. Because he didn't come up in the Republican farm team. He didn't come up in the organization. He didn't have groomers, Trump. Trump didn't have donors for his whole life like everybody else. He was a donor. So he didn't owe favors like everybody else. They couldn't control him like they could control everybody. So what they did was they concocted Russiagate.
They couldn't control him. The man who is definitely in the Epstein files. We already learned Jeffrey Epstein himself said, I was Donald's best friend for 10 fucking years. There's been, over 30 accusations of various sexual assault and harassment and all sorts of stuff against Trump. You got him on tape saying, I grabbed him by the pussy. I don't even wait. There's pictures with him and Jeffrey Epstein. The first time Trump and Melania had sex was on the fucking Lolita Express. And you're telling me Epstein was Mossad. You're telling me they don't have dirt on Trump? You're telling me he's not corrupt? When he just fucking launched the most corrupt scheme in American history, when the president of the United States, 2 days before his fucking inauguration, launched a scam meme coin? Never mind the billions of dollars Jared Kushner took from Saudi Arabia, and Trump's taking hundreds of millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia, open up a fucking resort in Vietnam and some other bullshit in Qatar, and saying he's going to take a $400 million jet from Qatar as well. What the fuck are we talking about? What are we talking about? Nobody has ever been more corrupt in human fucking history than this man. Oh, they didn't have anything on Trump. Fucking spare me. All this was bullshit, and it's important to note, at the time, they were afraid he wasn't going to do the wars. Well, he already had fucking done the wars. This was after the first term of Trump. You all know what he did in his first term. Increased drone strikes 400%, bombed Syria, bombed Somalia, tried to coup Venezuela, killed Qasem Soleimani, ripped up the Iran agreement. This was all propaganda every fucking step of the way.
Hated him for 4 straight years and impeached him twice.
They should have done it more than that. They should do it fucking right now. Impeach him, remove him, try him criminally, and fucking arrest him for his illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't fucking attack us. He deserves to rot under the prison at The Hague.
So if you were the anti-war person, you should have voted for Trump and the Republicans. That's what this means. If you're pro-war, you vote for Joe Biden and the Democrats.
I was trying to save abortion. That's why I voted for Biden.
He'll try to be Weasley about it too. Be like, I never said that. I never said that. Let's hear that one more time. Just for the record.
So if you were the anti-war person, you should have voted for Trump and the Republicans. That's what this means.
How's that going? How is that fucking going at this moment? But I'm still not done. Here's another one of these assholes. And I'll explain to you the dynamic in a second as to how these people ended up where they were. But this is Jackson Hinkle.
Trump is the only candidate right now who's actually working to build global peace. He met with Kim Jong-un. He loves Xi Jinping. He loves Putin. He had great relations with all these leaders. And that's why the globalist deep state, at the end of the day, really hated him.
Oh, my God. By the way, what did Trump do on Russia and Ukraine? I'll tell you what he did. He did an imperialist exploitative deal with Ukraine where he said, yeah, we'll keep giving you weapons. We'll keep giving you support. But in return for that, you need to let us take 50% of all of your shit. Your minerals, your natural resources, your ports. We want half of all of your shit. Old school imperialism and colonialism and exploitation on top of this motherfucker threatening war with Mexico, threatening war with Canada, threatening to steal Greenland, threatening to steal Panama, saying we're gonna take and own Gaza after we let Israel finish their fucking genocide and extermination campaign. I got one more for you. Here's Tim Pool. This is a doozy here.
Have you been following the news on this one?
Yeah.
He recently came out and told Israel he was breaking from them. He doesn't want to be involved in their wars.
Do you remember why?
Iran.
What do you mean Iran?
To avoid a war?
To avoid a war with Iran. He said, we're going to stop supporting you because you're pushing too hard. Israel said they're going to engage in strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. And Tulsi Gabbard told Trump, don't do it. And Trump said, we won't. Tulsi Gabbard was excellent choice. Man, if we got Kamala Harris in there, holy shit.
And now that Trump launched an illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't fucking attack us, and he says we're going for regime change, what are these people going to do? I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're going to try to fucking cover their tracks, hide the record of the shit they actually fucking said, that they were dead fucking wrong about all of it. Dead wrong about all of it. And they'll try to fucking walk that tightrope where some of them will just hop on board and suck Trump off. Others will like mildly criticize him, but also say, but there's other things where he's actually doing really good, bro. And the whole fucking project for all these people needs to fucking implode, dog. Need to implode. Actually, I lied. I do have one more for you. Here's Andrew Schultz, the Rogan Sphere comedian. Here's Trump on the podcast before the election. Listen closely to what he says directly to Andrew Schultz's face. And remember, their audience and a lot of these Rogan Sphere comedians were convinced Trump is pro-peace, Trump is anti-war. Again, listen to what he says to his face.
He's still president of this country, and we're talking about nuclear war, and he's not capable. He doesn't even know what it is. He said yesterday, when they talked about should they hit Iran's nuclear, no, you shouldn't do that. I said, no, it's sort of just the opposite, because the nuclear is the biggest threat we have in the world today.
He said directly to his face. When Biden said Israel shouldn't hit Iran's nuclear facilities, Trump says, it's just the opposite. It's just the opposite, which means hit the nuclear facilities, which obviously would spark a wider war. Trump was saying before the election, this is what I want them to do. And he was attacking Biden for saying to Israel, don't attack the nuclear facilities. By the way, super important fact, which I just learned, but apparently Joe Biden, Israel was chomping at the bit to do this, to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. They wanted to do it. Joe Biden fucking vetoed it. He vetoed it to their face and said, you're not doing that. Now, there's other huge problems with Biden. He greenlit their genocide. He armed them. He funded them as they committed a genocide, which is fucking inexcusable. But do not tell me there is no difference between Trump and the Democrats. Don't tell me that when Joe Biden literally vetoed this war that Trump just fucking greenlit. He just greenlit. And here he is to Andrew Schultz's face saying, that's exactly what you want to do. It's the opposite. You want to hit their nuclear facilities. But watch what happens. I'm going to play the rest of the clip and you'll understand why these dopey podcasters fucking fell for all of Trump's bullshit. You're about to see why in this clip.
It's not global warming where the oceans are rising 1/8 of an inch in the next 500 years.
Right.
The threat that we have, the biggest
I love the casual, right, as Trump does climate change denial.
Threat is nuclear war.
Yeah. You seem concerned about that.
I am, because it only takes one. I am.
Very true.
There are 5 countries now that have capability, and soon they'll have more, and we shouldn't let there be more.
So see what he did there? Trump went from saying Israel should attack Iran's nuclear facilities, which obviously would spark a wider war, and obviously Israel would do that because they want regime change, and that's step 1 in fucking regime change. That's point number 1. But immediately after he says that, he goes to, the reason I have that position is because nuclear is so bad. I'm so against nuclear. I'm so against war that's why you have to do that. But notice the contradiction. The contradiction is, let's do war because I'm against war. And this is Trump in a fucking nutshell. On the campaign trail, he spoke out of both sides of his mouth all the time. But a lot of these fucking idiots only listened to the parts they wanted to hear. They ignored the warmongering stuff, and they ignored his fucking record in the first term of warmongering. And they helped bring us this fucking nightmare. Don't say nobody warned you that Trump's going to be a warmonger. Don't say that, because I've been screaming it from the rooftops. Most of you know it, but here's a tweet from July 19th, 2024. Trump just bragged about having no new wars. What he doesn't tell you is he increased drone strikes 432%, kept us in Iraq and Afghanistan, bombed Syria, assassinated a top Iranian commander who was fighting ISIS, that's Soleimani, tried to coup Venezuela, ripped up the Iran agreement, armed Saudi Arabia as they did a genocide in Yemen, and then vetoed a bill to cut off the weapons to them, said he wants war with Mexico in his second term, says Biden isn't supporting Israel enough and letting them finish the job, hired Bolton, Pompeo, and Haspel, all insane neocon warmongers, and let them run his foreign policy. When I was telling you about his record, it's a warning. This is who he is. This is what he wants to fucking do. This is what he wants to do. So now let me wrap this all up for you in a neat bow, and I can explain to you exactly how these people ended up where they were. So people play different roles in this media ecosystem, okay? And when you look at the right-wing podcasters, when you look at the MAGA media figures, right, they play a super critical role, and this is laid out here. Michael Tracy points out, Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec, etc. should be understood as government functionaries who have been tasked with placating certain audiences to keep them in line. They'll never directly criticize Trump, and that's ultimately what matters. Trump is the oxygen they breathe. So when you look at people like Sloppy Steve and Charlie Kirk and Jack Posobiec, these people really are Trump's stormtroopers, and their job is to do media propaganda for him so that even when he does something the base might not like, they need to spin it in a way where the base can support it, and they get them to fall in line, right? That's what those guys do. All these other independent media hacks and losers I just showed you, they don't play this role. They're just the useful idiots. They're just the ones who fell for the vibes put out there by Trump, put out there by MAGA media, and they actually drank the Kool-Aid. So you mix that with their vibe mongering. Trump had amazing vibes online. They wanted to ride that wave and get more views and get more support, get more fans, right? Make more ad revenue. They're vibe mongers. They're audience captured. They're also terminal contrarians against anything that the mainstream ever says or does, right? And they're narrative humpers. And the narrative was, Trump is based. We trigger the libs. Fuck the liberals. Fuck the Democrats. Trump is anti-war. Trump is anti-establishment. And they help bring you this fucking nightmare that we're in right now. But now you know who they are. And now you know what they said. And now you know what they do. So adjust accordingly. Know who the liars are, who the frauds are, who the con men are. Because again, I cannot stress this enough. It was, whoopsie, sorry. I said he was anti-war and it turns out he's the most pro-war guy fucking ever. No, they were warned. Everybody was warned. Well, when I was saying it at the time, it was unpopular to point out those facts. It was unpopular. You'd say those things and people would look at you like you're fucking crazy. You bring up Trump's record and they go, yeah, but Democrats are worse, or Kamala's a bigger warmonger, or Biden's a bigger warmonger. They had all their bullshit things. They was swatted aside, water off a duck's ass, didn't care. They also didn't care that when he would say something pro-war, like he did to Andrew Schultz's face, they wouldn't even fucking hear no evil, see no evil. I'll pretend like it didn't happen. And that's the role that they played. But I warned you. There were some of us out here who were warning you, but it wasn't popular to say, and you weren't going to get as big of a fucking audience at the time. Well, now you know the truth, and now you know who these people are. And do with that whatever you will. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.